There's a reason your patio looks like a slab of concrete someone dropped in your yard, and a stranger's patio 3 streets overlooks like it belongs in a magazine, and it's not the budget. It's not even close. A landscaping contractor in Texas once admitted something wild in an interview. He said most of his custom patio jobs, the ones clients paid $5, $6, even $8,000 for, used maybe $200 worth of actual materials. The rest was labor, markup, and a handful of design tricks he'd never explain unless you were paying him. Well, somebody finally explained them. And once you hear these 9 tricks, you will never look at a boring backyard patio the same way again, including your own. Because here's the myth we need to bust right now. A custom-built look has almost nothing to do with money. It's 4 or 5 decisions, repeated in the right order, that anyone can copy for the price of a nice dinner out. So today I'm walking you through 9 backyard patio ideas that genuinely look like you hired someone. Every single one of them can be done for under $200. We're going deep here, not just by some Paver's advice. I'm talking exact materials, real costs, and the little details that separate cute DIY attempt from, wait, did you have this professionally installed? And number 6 on this list, it's the one designers charge the most money for, and it's honestly one of the cheapest things on here: to fake yourself. Before we get into it, if you're the kind of person who wants your yard to feel like an escape without draining your savings account, subscribe now. I post new backyard transformations every week, and if you miss the next one, you might miss the exact idea that would have worked perfectly for your space. I don't want that for you. Okay, let's get into it. The pea gravel floating patio. This is the single easiest way to fake a custom hardscape, and almost nobody uses it right. Here's the trick. Instead of laying gravel flat across your whole space, you frame it. Grab some cheap landscape edging. The black plastic kind runs about $15 for 20 feet, and outline a rectangle or an organic curve shape. Then fill it with pea gravel, which you can get for around $5 a bag at most home improvement stores. The framing is what makes it look intentional instead of like gravel that just happened. Now here's where it gets really good. Take a few flat stepping stones. You can find cracked or seconds Pavers at garden center for next to nothing, sometimes even free if you ask, and set them into the gravel like they're floating. That single move is what high-end designers charge thousands for. It's called a floating pathway, and it visually tricks the eye into thinking a professional laid this out with precision. The surprising fact most people don't know: pea gravel patios actually drain better than solid concrete, which means less puddling and no cracking from freeze-thaw cycles. Contractors love it because it's cheap for them too, they just don't tell you that. But gravel isn't the only instant custom look trick on this list. The next one uses something you probably already have lying around your garage. 2. The pallet wood deck tile trick. Wood pallets get thrown away by the thousands every single day behind stores, and most people have no idea they're basically free custom decking material. Here's how it works. You break down a pallet, takes about 20 minutes with a pry bar, and use the slats to build small deck tile squares, usually about 2 feet by 2 feet, nailed onto a simple frame. You lay these tiles over your existing concrete slab, dirt, or grass like puzzle pieces. Stain them a rich espresso brown or a driftwood gray, and suddenly you've got what looks like a $3,000 modular deck system. The trick that sells the illusion is spacing. Leave a consistent 1/4 inch gap between each tile. This mimics professional deck board spacing, which exists for water drainage. Skip this step and it looks homemade. Include it and it looks engineered. Most people don't realize pallet wood is often kiln-dried hardwood, the same category would used in some premium outdoor furniture. Companies pay to have it treated and shipped. You're getting it for free, sitting behind a grocery store. Speaking of getting professional materials for nothing, item number 3 might be the most controversial one on this entire list. Quick question for you when you picture your dream backyard. Is it more about having a place to relax alone, or a space built for entertaining friends and family? Think about that for a second, because it actually changes which of these ideas will work best for you. And hey, if this is giving you ideas already, hit that like button. It genuinely helps this video reach more backyard DIYers who need to see this before they waste money on a contractor quote. 3. Broken concrete Urbanite patio. This one sounds strange until you see it, and then it becomes obsessive. When people redo their driveways or sidewalks, the broken up chunks of old concrete get hauled to the dump, and dumps often charge to take it, or the contractor just wants it gone. This material is called Urbanite in landscaping circles, and it is essentially free stone. You can find it on Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, or just by asking any concrete company doing work nearby if you can grab their debris. You lay the broken pieces like a puzzle flat side up directly onto sand or gravel base, fitting the irregular shapes together like a mosaic. Fill the gaps with more sand, or for a nicer look, some ground cover like creeping thyme. The end result looks shockingly similar to expensive flagstone patios that typically run $15 to $20 per square foot when professionally installed. Here's the part almost nobody knows. Urbanite patios are actually considered eco-friendly and are used in high-end sustainable landscape design because they reduce landfill waste. What looks rustic and free to you is literally a premium design choice in certain circles. But the next idea on this list isn't about materials at all. It's about a lighting trick that changes everything after the sun goes down. 4. The string light grid ceiling. Most people hang string lights in one lazy zigzag line and wonder why their patio still looks unfinished at night. The professional trick is building an actual grid overhead, a crisscross pattern using eye hooks and lightweight cable, or even fishing line as the support structure, with the string lights woven through it. This creates what's called a light canopy, and it transforms an ordinary patio into something that feels like an outdoor restaurant patio in Italy. The cost? Maybe $40 to $60 for enough lights and hardware to cover a decent-sized space. The key detail is tension. If your support lines sag, it looks messy. Professionals use turnbuckles, small metal tensioning hardware that costs a few dollars each to keep every line taut and level. That tightness is what separates college backyard party from boutique hotel courtyard. Something most people never think about. Warm white lights, specifically in the 2700K color temperature range, mimic candlelight and trigger a psychological relaxation response. Cooler white lights actually make outdoor spaces feel more like a parking lot. The bulb color you choose is doing more emotional work than the patio material itself. Now, Item 5 is where things get a little bit sneaky because it's about tricking the eye into thinking your space is bigger than it actually is. 5. The diagonal paver layout. This one single decision, the angle you lay your pavers, it can make or break whether your patio looks professionally designed. Most DIYers lay pavers in a straight grid because it's easier to measure. But professional hardscapers almost always lay pavers at a 45-degree angle relative to the house. This diagonal pattern creates the illusion of a larger space, draws the eye outward, and instantly reads as intentional design instead of, I just placed these in rows. You can buy basic concrete pavers for as little as $1 to $2 each at most hardware stores, meaning a decent-sized 10 by 10 patio can genuinely come in under $200 total. The cutting is the only tricky part, since diagonal layouts require trimming edge pieces. A rented wet saw for a day runs about $30 to $40, and that single rental is often the difference between an amateur edge and a razor-clean one. Interior designers and architects call this the visual flow. Principal diagonal lines subconsciously make spaces feel 20 to 30% larger than they measure, according to spatial design research. You're not changing your square footage. You're changing how your brain perceives it. Up next is an idea that costs almost nothing, but might be the single most requested designer look in outdoor spaces right now. Real talk for a second, how much do you think a contractor would actually charge you to redo your patio right now? Drop that number in the comments. I'm genuinely curious how it compares city to city. I read every single comment, so don't be shy. And if you haven't subscribed yet, this is your sign, because the next few ideas get even sneakier, and I don't want you scrolling past the video that saves you the most money. Concrete stained faux stone finish. Here's the one I mentioned earlier, the one designers charge the most for, and yet it's shockingly cheap to fake yourself. If you already have a plain, boring concrete slab, the kind that came standard with your house, you don't need to rip it out. You need acid-based concrete stain, which runs about $25 to $35 a bottle, and a cheap sea sponge. Applied and modeled, overlapping patterns of 2 or 3 earth tone colors. This creates a mottled, natural stone appearance that mimics travertine or slate. Professional concrete staining jobs for an average patio can cost anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000. You're recreating the same chemical reaction with a sponge and some patience. The trick professionals use that DIYer skip is called reactive layering, applying colors in separate sessions, letting each one partially dry, and dabbing rather than brushing. Brushing creates streaks. Dabbing creates the organic, cloud-like variation that makes stained concrete look like real stone instead of painted concrete. The fact almost nobody knows? Acid stain doesn't sit on top of the concrete like paint. It chemically reacts with the minerals in the concrete itself, meaning the color becomes permanently part of the surface. It won't peel, chip, or fade the way paint does because it's not a coating. It's a transformation. But even the best-looking patio floor means nothing without what comes next, because item 7 is about the one design element most backyards are completely missing. 7. The defined edge border. This is the quiet detail that your brain notices even if you can't explain why. A patio without a clear border edge always looks unfinished, no matter how nice the surface is. Professional installations almost always include a defined border, a contrasting row of brick, stone, or even a different paver color running along the perimeter. This single design element, sometimes called a soldier course, costs maybe $20 to $40 in extra material, but instantly makes an entire patio look architecturally planned rather than just poured or laid down. You can do this with leftover bricks from other projects, mismatched pavers you got on clearance, or even painted cinder blocks laid on their sides. The material barely matters. What matters is the contrast and the consistency around the full perimeter. Here's something interesting. This border trick is borrowed directly from interior design. We're called a picture frame effect. It's the same psychological principle as matting around a piece of art. The frame tells your brain this is a finished, deliberate thing, even when the content inside is simple. Number 8 is a bit unconventional, but once you see it in photos, you'll want it immediately. 8. Repurposed shipping crate furniture zone. A patio isn't just the ground, it's what sits on top of it. And this is where most budgets get blown fast on furniture. Wooden shipping crates, the kind used for produce or industrial parts, are often sold for $10 to $20 each at salvage yards, or given away free by stores that just want them gone. Stack 2 or 3 together, and you've got an end table. Turn one on its side with a cushion on top, and it's a bench. Line several up, and you've built a modular seating area that looks like it came from an expensive outdoor furniture catalog, the kind that sells rustic industrial sets for $800 or more. The trick is uniformity in the stain or paint color. Mismatched wood tones look like junk. A single cohesive stain color across every crate reads as collection instead of stuff I found. The surprising fact here is that this exact aesthetic reclaimed wood crate furniture is one of the fastest growing categories in boutique outdoor furniture retail, with some companies selling the distress crate look as a premium, intentionally aged style. You're not settling for the cheap version. You're making the exact thing people are paying extra for. And that brings us to the final idea, the one that ties every single thing on this list together. 9. The container garden frame. This last one isn't a material trick. It's a psychological one, and it might be the most important item on this entire list. Surrounding your patio with container plants, even cheap $5 terracotta pots from a discount store filled with inexpensive perennials, creates what designers call a soft frame. It's the living, green version of that border trick from item 7. It does something concrete or what alone can never do. It makes the space feel finished, lived in, and cared for. A patio with plants around the edges, even mismatched ones, reads as intentional. The exact same patio with nothing around it reads as incomplete, no matter how nice the surface is. Grouping plants in odd numbers, 3 pots instead of 2, 5 instead of 4, is an old design rule that professional landscapers use constantly because asymmetrical groupings feel more natural and less rigid to the human eye than even numbers do. The fact that surprises people most? Studies on outdoor space perception show that greenery around a hardscaped area increases perceived property value more than almost any other low-cost addition, sometimes outperforming furniture upgrades entirely, according to real estate landscaping research. Plants aren't decoration. They're doing the heaviest lifting on this entire list. So here's the pattern running through every single one of these 9 ideas, and it's the thing I really want you to walk away with today. None of this was ever about money. Every trick we just went through, the diagonal angle, the defined border, the tension in the string lights, the odd-numbered plant groupings, they're all just about intention. A custom-built look isn't a price tag. It's a series of small, deliberate decisions that most people skip because nobody ever explained them. The $4,000 patio and the $200 patio can use almost identical materials. The only real difference is whether someone understood these principles or not. You do now. If you want to go even deeper, my next video breaks down the exact same designer on a budget tricks. You're going to want to see that one. If this video helped you, do me a favor and subscribe. It costs nothing. It means you won't miss the next backyard idea that could have been exactly what your space needed. Thanks for spending this time with me today. Go make your backyard something you actually can't wait to walk out into. I'll see you in the next one.